Steve Adubato. I've known Steve so many years. Steven, that's for you, baby. But got to be his best song. Got to be his best song. I mean, am I right? Am I right thinking about it? I mean, Frank Sinatra-wise. Huh?
You are correct, Mr. Piscopo, because I got to tell you, Joe, I was not totally in the summer mood, right, concerned about the weather forecast, until I heard that song, that voice, this show in the morning. So I want to thank you. I want to thank Al for always being there. By the way, Al, you there, buddy?
Al's right here.
Yes, I am.
Right.
Behind your back, Joe Piscopo was saying great things about you in New Jersey at a party recently.
Look at
that.
Look at
He has become not only a great news guy, which you've already been for a long time, but your personality is coming out. Joe, it's not about you. It's not about me. It's about Al for about 5 seconds. Now let's stop talking about him.
It's so true, though. And by the way, Steve, you got to know this for the record, I never actually, put the commercials together. There's a bumper, there's a promo, there's a lot going on. I put them together so we left time for you because it's been too long. And as you're listening, Steve is from his family comes from the North Ward in Newark, and there's like a whole brotherhood there, man. And Bloomfield Avenue, it's all about Bloomfield Avenue. So we all got together, I told you, for Lou LaSalle, our dear buddy from Barnabas. And we had such a great time. And Steve, thank you, man. You were the best. Steve's the master of ceremonies. Calls me over. I told you this before if you're listening, but just to reiterate, he calls me over. He goes, Joe, I'm going to put you up front because I know you got to get up in the morning. How about that? Now, I'm going to a Yankee game with Bill O'Reilly tonight. Now, Bill O'Reilly invited me, and I know he's got better seats than I will ever have, Steve.
Is it the 4 o'clock game, Joe? Because it's a doubleheader.
That's
is it the early game? Because I know
you know what I'm thinking.
O'Reilly's O'Reilly, but is O'Reilly going to say to you, Joe, you can leave in the third inning?
I don't know. We put the feeler out. I said, can I go earlier to the early bird special like the old guy?
Yes.
And then maybe we can just leave early because this morning radio thing we love it, but it's as they say, it's early. How are you, Steve? Everybody good? Family's good? All well?
Family's good. And by the way, last thing, I know we have business and politics and policy and Cuomo and Murphy and the January 6th. But last thing is, I want you to pull a Phil Rizzuto and get over that George Washington Bridge as early as possible, which is an inside thing. Yes. I'm sorry, Joe. I digress. My team is upset with me.
When Phil Rizzuto would do them games, he would broadcast the games. Rest his brilliant soul. What a great guy. Remember, he would leave. That seventh inning, he was gone. He was on the bridge already, right?
Gone.
Oh, my God. He'd be watching The Natural.
The game was over.
Yeah, I'm going to go watch The Natural. I got to watch The Natural tonight. Here we go. Hysterical.
I love it.
Hey, Steve, by the way.
What are we talking about today?
Did you just get out of the event last night? I heard it lasted till last night.
Don't go there. By the way, Al, 100 Italian-American guys from New Jersey celebrating and recognizing Lou LaSalle, another Italian-American guy who's 87 and retiring from a great healthcare system. RWJ Barnabas. What could go wrong? The night Piscopo, I texted you the next morning, Joe, and I said, you were very lucky you got out early.
I know. And I got to tell you, too, and I talked about it on the air, I wanted that food at the Park Savoy. I didn't get any. I should have, I joked on the air.
I didn't take a bag with you, Joe.
That's what I needed. I needed a plate. Make him a little plate. Make Joey a little plate, please.
Make him a plate. I'm sorry.
Nothing. Next time. Steve, so I don't know what to do. I'm trying to keep positive. Steven, give us the take on.
I'll be couple. Go ahead. Ask me whatever you want.
Well, it's so tough to jump on the air when there's a mass shooting, and they're going to do the numbers. It's about guns. Is it not about guns? Yeah. Is it about background checks? Not about background checks. I don't know what the answer is. We always have on this show, by the grace of God, we have solutions. I don't know how to deal with this. How do you red flag somebody like that? Huh?
And Joe, there are a couple things. First of all, I want to admit something that I'm not proud of. This morning, I'm in our home gym and watching CNN or anywhere, whether it's Fox or MSNBC. It's the lead story, and I literally, and this is wrong to do, I literally turned to SportsCenter and then to Piscopo because and this is horrible. I didn't want to start the day like that, but the reality is 9 people are dead. I don't want to deal with it. Their families are grieving. Other people are injured. My wife said to me, it almost feels as if virtually every other day there's some sort of horrific mass shooting. I believe in strong gun control, but I also respect people's right to bear arms. However, people who are mentally ill who should not have their hands on these guns are getting them again and again and again. And I don't know what the answer is, but not talking about it and not confronting it as I was a chicken this morning, didn't want to deal with it. That's not the answer. So Congress, state legislatures have to take this on in a serious way and stop pointing fingers and accusing other people of promoting violence because of their position one way or the other.
Yeah, it's true. I'm not sure what it is, but boy, I feel for those people. And you know what else is sad, Steve? They'll move on. By the end of the day, we'll move on, and they'll move on to something else. I'll be guilty of that.
On, though.
No,
those families won't.
Ever.
And by the way, there's no real segue to this, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Yes,
a lot of people have moved on in New York and New Jersey as it relates to the virus, and I'm glad we are where we are, and I'm glad New Jersey is opening up things this weekend without masks, indoor and outdoors, if you're vaccinated. But I'll say this. For families who lost loved ones in nursing homes, they don't move on. And New York more than New Jersey, because I said this before on the air, Joe, I'll say it again.
Yeah.
I have respect for Governor Cuomo, but I do not respect on any level his leadership on this issue. Not only did he write that book, got a $5 million royalty. I know there's no segue here, but I have to say it. He took a $5 million royalty writing about leadership. That's my work. That's my research. That's what I teach. That's what I try to live and practice. He writes a book, gets $5 million about leadership, and doesn't say one word about the nursing home situation. Then they double down and they lie about how many people were lost. And his basic argument is, does it really matter where they died? You're darn right it matters where they died, because those families needed to know, those people needed to be protected, and they weren't. And what he did was horrific and a failure of leadership. And Governor Murphy, who I look forward to interviewing one day, once he comes in that studio, I'll tell you this. I'm going to ask him, what mistakes did you make by following or being shoulder to shoulder with Governor Cuomo on this? They've got to answer that, Joe.
Yeah, it's very, very true. Hey, speaking of the gubernatorial race in New Jersey, if I can, Steve Adubato.
Oh, you're not running this year. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, you know, I swear to goodness gracious, Steve Forbes, and we both know Steve, what a great guy he is. He goes, Joe, you got to run. He goes, you got to run. If I ever had somebody like that behind, I would love to do a rogue independent run. We both know you can't win as an.
When you say somebody like that, you mean cash. You mean putting money behind a campaign is what you're talking about.
Well, you know,
you're
I don't want to.
Scott Ohl. You said if somebody had Scott Ohl to put behind me, then I think about it.
Oh, because Lord knows you need
Al, that's what he means. You know that.
What's happened? Al just told me. What's happened with and Jack Ciattarelli, you know, is on the show. And how close is Jack and this guy Rizzo's running, who was on the show, and Hirsch Singh, who's a good guy. I know Hirsch a little bit. Is that a close? Gubernatorial.
Joe, I got to tell you something.
Yeah,
here's where the problem comes in.
Yeah.
I respect and like Jack Ciattarelli, but I got to tell you the problem I believe he has. In a Republican primary, and you know that electorate better than most, he has moved so far to, I'm not even going to say the right. Yeah. This is where the problem was with former President Trump. I respect people who voted for him. That's fine. But it's the Republican Party. It's not the Trump Party. And in order for Ciattarelli to feel like he would get the Republican nomination against more conservative, Trumpian, if you will, candidates, he curried favor with President Trump when 5 years ago he said he wasn't qualified to be in office. Now, even if he wins the nomination in a blue state like New Jersey, with a governor like Murphy, who's potentially vulnerable in certain areas, I think that Republican candidate, particularly if it's Ciattarelli, is going to be weakened. Because to win the primary, you know, Joe, in the Republican Party is not the same as winning a general election where the electorate is more to the center, moving to the left.
Yeah. We gotta have Jack on the show. But Steve, before we let you go too, on Governor Murphy, and we both know he's a nice guy. I just saw him last week at John Brown's
really nice
house.
Guy.
People got mad at me. Oh, you're going over because John Brown wanted to bring everybody together. Dick Cody was
there.
there.
You had comedians together. You would have been the funniest. But that's not the point. But Joe, what is? How does it get to the point where you went to the other side? One of my friends, and by the way, one of our good friends, our lawyer friend, who you know I'm not going to say his name this morning, he said to me, we're playing golf with some guys. He goes, hey, Steve's on the other side. Yeah. And I got mad at him. I said, Nicky. Sorry, I said his name, okay? So I said, Nick, there are not two sides. We're all Americans. We just have different views about different issues and different people. Stop with the other side, because that argument about are you with us or are you with them, whether you're crazy left-wing liberals or hardcore people who believe January 6th didn't matter or was no big deal and don't want to investigate it. I'm an American who believes in truth, who has some ideas about that are progressive, some that are fiscally incredibly conservative, Joe. So what side are we talking about? You didn't move to any other side because you're respectful to Phil Murphy, the governor. He's the governor. You're respecting the office.
Well, does he win? Does he win? Let me go here. His approval ratings are still pretty good at this point, correct?
His approval ratings are good, not as high as they were. That's to be expected. I will say this. The virus, this pandemic, has dictated this election more than anything else. And I believe if, in fact, school children are not in school 5 days a week in September, the first week, which is way more important than an election, frankly, and we have school-age children. If our kids are not in school, Governor Murphy has a real problem. I hope and pray they are in school, not for politics, but for those kids. That's going to be the deciding factor. And I pray for those small businesses, all of whom have suffered, many of whom have closed, that they try to stay in the game and they have a better next few months.
That's true. So when is the big Adubato celebration at your beach house with me and Frank and Joe Sibilia and Al Gattuso? And we'll bring Debbie along, Steve. You let us know.
Frank Morano.
Frank's got to be there. Frank's got to be there. Al's got to be there. Al's got to bring special beer. Got to bring special beer.
Done.
Debbie's got to bring her sunny personality, and you just have to be Joe Piscopo and doing about 12 or 15 songs.
That's exactly right. Do Sinatra.
So you'll be fine. You know you're not going to just sit there. Joe, I was 2 steps away the other night from it.
No.
Do Sinatra and Springsteen a little bit, and you looked at me you gave me side eye like if you asked me to do that, I'm going to be peeved.
Oh my God!
I got to get out of here and get to bed by 8 o'clock.
I know. Sometimes it's a good excuse. I love it, Steve.
You got to put. You know what, Joe? I'll leave you with this, Joe. You had to put your Mudans on.
Yeah, I did.
Nobody knows what Mudans are. They're very comfortable Italian pajamas. I know you know. They're comfortable Italian pajamas.
Oh, and Rick Cerrone. How about Ricky Cerrone there coming by? You know how he is.
Rick Cerrone, the former great.
Yeah.
No mercy. Yankee,
no mercy.
Number 10.
No,
he's brutal. He's brutal. By the way, we all dressed up. Piscopo was in, his shirt, tie, beautiful suit, Italian suit. The great Rick Cerrone played for the Yankees right after he lost the really great Thurman Munson. Comes in shorts and a T-shirt and his Crocs.
He actually had Crocs. And we'll never let him forget about it either. It will bust his chops forever. Steve, give my love to the family, my friend. Thank you, Stephen. God bless you, brother. We'll talk to you soon, all right? I'll see you soon.
Best to the Piscopo family. All the best, guys. Take care.
Thank you, Steve. You too. Steve Adubato, Emmy Award-winning anchor on PBS, the host of a book that you can read, and I don't think Steve got $5 million for it. He texted me that. Lessons in Leadership. There's a podcast, Lessons in Leadership, as well.